Here we go. How we doing tonight? I am tired, so forgive me if I'm low energy tonight. A lot to talk about, a lot to do. Let's get it cracking. Not a lot of people in here, but we're gonna get it started. Listen, welcome to the 60 for 60 show. It's a podcast. We talk all things semi-pro. I'm the host. Started playing football when I was 9. Played for the Mount Vernon Razorbacks. I played at Iona Prep, Nassau Community College. I ended up having a car accident in my college career. Kind of ended right there. After I recovered, love for football never went away. I found my way into semi-pro. And here we are doing a show about semi-pro football. Currently play in the IFA with the CT Falcons, Independent Football Association. That's a spring league. Playing the ECFL, East Coast Football League with the Southerton Valley Vipers. That's in the fall. Just a little bit of background about myself. Listen, tonight it's another open line. The link is on the post. Come talk football. Represent your team. Join the conversation. We're going to talk about a couple of different things tonight. We're going to start to make that little transition where we start talking about the fall. We're going to kind of introduce the ECFL for those who don't know. For the guys who play in the ECFL, this is kind of that time where we start the transition. We're going through the playoffs. All the spring leagues pretty much are ending or in their playoffs, so we're going to talk about that. Of course, we're going to open up the playbook. So it's a lot of things to talk about tonight. Listen, before we go any further, as always, we got to talk sponsors, man. We got to talk sponsors. So if you're out there, if you're a company, if you just take an interest in sports, we're always trying to build a network for the athletes, for the fans, for the teams, and we need sponsors. All right, we want to invite you to become a sponsor or a partner with 60 for 60 or any of its affiliates, any of the teams or players that we talk about. We also have advertisement space available on social media. We got physical space available. We got ad space on videos. If you want any more information, you want to learn how we can help you grow your business, expand your customer base, email me at morris.hilton@ml.com. Send me a message on Facebook or call me at 914-573-8691. Let's jump right into the horn, man. The 3A rankings came out a few weeks ago. We kind of talked about this, right? We talked a little bit about the 3A top 30. And we've been calling out some teams. One of the leagues that I really started to take some interest in is the TUFL. I call it the TUFL. I don't know if anybody else calls it TUFL. I like to just call it the Tough League. Man, they playing ball down there. I mean, these dudes is out there really getting it. Something that's crazy that I found out, and I found out in the weirdest way, just kind of strolling through. They played, at least one team played a game in the Dallas Stadium, the brand new stadium down there in Dallas, Texas. They played in an NFL stadium, man. I don't know what they did, how they pulled that off. We have a tough time in the Northeast getting high school fields. These dudes played in the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. Number 5, Dallas Prime. That's the team that we're talking about. But there's other teams, man, in the tougher. You got the Northeast Dragons up there. You got the West Texas Oilers. Actually, a friend of mine's, a lot of people know this guy, Dave Legree, played in the NFL, great quarterback in semi-pro for years, definitely a Hall of Fame caliber guy. Played for the New York Rebels. I got him as a friend on Facebook. He liked, or he shared a video of this kid. He's playing running back, and it's a highlight, and he's cutting it up. And the kid looks good, and he's moving. He's stiff arming dudes into the floor, and he's juking dudes. And I'm like, man, this dude is nasty. So I check him out, and he plays in the TUFL. I think he's a Northeast guy. I think he's from the Brooklyn area, but he plays down there, and he plays on the Space City team. I forgot what their name is. Space City something. I'm definitely going to check that out in a second. I'm going to get that name down pat. But he plays on a team out of Space City, and they're in the TUFL. I mean, just some great football happening down there. Just kind of wanted to shout them out, give them a little bit of love. They was the 2021 TUFL champions. They were national champions as well. As I said, they was in AT&T Stadium down in playing where the Dallas Cowboys play. Great football team down there. A lot of great football. So that's the shout out for the day. Out of the 3A rankings, out of the 2A rankings, of course, we got our own, CT Falcons, but we also got the East Coast Cardinals. I didn't see this. Somebody brought this to my attention. At number 24, the East Coast Cardinals. Now, East Coast Cardinals right now, they're the best team in the IFA. People have asked me like, why are the Falcons ahead of the Cardinals? First of all, we got another loss, so that's definitely gonna hurt us. But if you look at it, we played 8 games. Cardinals only played 4 games. I think that has a lot to do with it. You look at some of the top teams; they played 8, 9, 10 games. That has a lot to do with it. Mount Vernon Bangers is still on here. They lost another game, so they're 4-3 right now. I think no, they're 5-3. Forgive me, they're 5-3. So that's gonna hurt them as well. Um, Tough. Long Island Eagles finished the season undefeated. They 8-0. So potentially seeing another Long Island Eagles game for the national championship. I don't know. That's definitely on the cards. But one of the teams that we wanted to shout out, sitting at number 1 in the AFA, Chattanooga Eagles. The AFA, I think, might be the top league in 2A in the country. They just might be the top league in 2A. The Virginia Storm is a crazy good team. They got some ball happening down there. They got the Carolina Spartans is another team that I know a little bit about. Very, very good football team. They got a lot happening down there. Um, Give a nice shout out to the Chattanooga Eagles as well. Hopefully we get one of these guys on here to kind of talk about the football that's happening down in the South. That's gonna be dope. All right, moving on. Let's get to the TFL. Week 7 is over. It's a wrap. They're going into week 8, I believe. Everybody's played. Well, actually, I think it's going to be week 9. So that might be off because if you think about it, all the teams have played 8 games except for the Green Wave and the Bengals. They're going to play each other Memorial Day weekend. I believe it's going to be a Saturday game. It might be a Sunday. I'm not sure exactly. But everybody's done except for the Green Wave and the Bengals. Eagles 8-0. Bengals 5-8. They sitting at number 2. The Green Wave have a chance to go 5-3. They play the Brooklyn Bengals. All right. They got a chance to kind of tie it with the Mount Vernon Bengals. I don't know what the tiebreaker situation is. We're gonna have to get more info on that at a later time. But the Ducks and Bulldogs definitely finished 3-5. I got them up there in that order. I don't know what the TFL has them in. The TFL might have that flip, right? And then the Bengals, obviously, they haven't won a game this season. It's very unlikely that they'll win a game. It would be the craziest thing if the Bengals get into the playoffs and just turn it completely around. It'd be like the first winless team to ever make a playoff run. I think that would be the craziest story, but it's highly unlikely. The honest truth is the Eagles got the league under control. They really do. The Bengals they coming on late in the season. They really starting to figure it out. The Green Wave just shocked everybody. I mean, everybody kind of figured before the season started they would be like the Bengals, a winless team, but they balling, man. They balling. So I think we're gonna get a clearer playoff picture once this week is over and the Green Wave has settled, the beef that they got going on with the Bengals this week. Once all the teams have played 8 games, we'll probably figure out who's gonna play who. As of right now, I think it really depends on whether the Green Wave is 5-3 or they 4-4. So we'll check that out. We'll check that out as things go on. We'll keep the updates going. On the right, you'll see the weekend that just passed. You'll see the scores. The Bengals played the Bulldogs. Absolutely, 49-6. The first time that the Bengals saw the Bulldogs, they had to go to the Bulldogs. They lost a heartbreaker, a bomb into the end zone. Crazy catch over 2 guys. This time they said, we ain't even gonna let it be that close. Brooklyn Bengals absolutely destroyed by the Long Island Eagles. I'm actually surprised that the Eagles let them score. I would have to assume that they had backups in, probably third string backups in, maybe a blown coverage or something. The Green Wave handling the Ducks 24-6 is kind of crazy. I really thought the Ducks and the Green Wave game would be a lot better of a game and more in favor of the Ducks, but that could just be the old, old mindset. The Green Wave is really, really a great team this year. So moving on, take a look at the NEAFL. This league encompasses New Jersey, PA, Maryland. I think they also got Delaware in there as well. Uh, Jaguars sitting at the top at the end of week 9. The Unit 7-1, number 2. The Knights 7-1. So you got 3 teams that just kind of took over, just left everybody else in the dust. The Delco Tide and the Phantom, they made it in the top 5. Remember, the Phantom is the team that gave the New Jersey Unit their only loss of the season. Really, really crazy there. The Thunder really just they didn't have a great year. The Fire didn't have a great year, less than 3 wins. So looking at the playoffs for the NEAFL, they're in the playoffs, and this is how it looks. On the left side, you got the Jags. On the right side, you got the Unit. That's your 1 and 2. The Knights are number 3. They had home field advantage against the Canes, the Hurricanes, and the Delco Tide played the Philly Phantoms. We're gonna talk about that in a second. And there you go. Round 1, Philly Phantoms 12-0. Shout out to Delco Tide. The commissioner of the NEAFL said it himself. The Phantom is actually a really good team. Their record doesn't speak for how good that team is. That team, I think they lost all 4 games within a touchdown, within 8 points. All 4 games they lost within 8 points. So they're actually a really good football team. Don't let the record fool you. On the right, the Jersey Knights, 3-point win over the South Philly Hurricanes. That was a great game. I think it's a lot closer than the Knights wanted it to be, but listen, it's playoffs. That's how it's going to be. You're going to get everybody's best. So that was the end of round 1. We're going to talk about the future games. Let's jump over to the IFA. IFA season is in the books. It's closed doors. Now we're going on to the playoffs, and this is how it ended. Cardinals undefeated, 5-0. Now, the actual final record might change. I think the Cardinals have a chance to make up that game that they missed with the Crusaders this weekend. If they don't play this weekend, what was said, the last time, if you was here, we had, Dave Patterson on live, and he got up here and he let us know what the facts was. The facts was they got a chance to make up that game. If they don't, it's going to end up being a forfeit. So they might end up with a 5-1 record. They'll be undefeated on the field, I'll tell you that much. Listen, they finally got the perfect report card. They've been asking for it. They've been mad at me all year. Why you didn't give it to us? Why you didn't do that? They gave up 20 points to the Warhawks. It was rough. It was tough to say if that defense would have been able to hold Thaddeus. Backup quarterback steps in. They hold on, 1-point win. But they turned around and they absolutely dominated the Bearcats. They shut them down 42-0, I think it was. And that's all we needed to see. That's a top team. That's a playoff team. And they absolutely murdered them, didn't let them score points. So they got to get A's across the board. Warhawks get A's across the board. They're a dominant team. They beat up on us Falcons real bad. Yeah, it was at home, but so what? That's a good football team. That's a really good football team. We were calling out weak links. We were looking at film and we going, oh, this guy is weak and they do this and they do that. But when we got on the field with them, all those weak links wasn't so weak, So really, really talented football team out there in New Hampshire. The Falcons dropped down to number 3. We just playing poorly. We're playing poorly. The first half of the season we played outstanding. The second half of the season, and you see the ratings. A lot of my teammates are upset with me. Let's just be real with it. But the truth of the matter is, we're playing like a bottom tier team. We really are. This past weekend, we lost to the Crusaders. You see them at number 6. They were at number 7. And there's not much to say about being number 7 because the team at number 8 is winless. And they forfeited their last 2 games. So we really lost to the worst team in the league, the worst active team in the league, at least. And that's tough. That's a team that we probably should have handled. So we really got to figure it out. When going into the playoffs, are we going to bring the team that we started the year with, that was rocking and rolling, putting us on the map, showing everybody that we're here for everything? Or are we going to continue down this downward spiral? I don't know. We really need to just pull it together as a team and really figure it out. But I promise you, we're gonna figure it out. We definitely gonna figure it out. Bearcats 3-2. They had a tough schedule. The Bearcats may have had the toughest schedule in the IFA, maybe. I mean, they had to play the Warhawks. They had to play the Cardinals. I think they were supposed to play the Patriots. They might have dodged a bullet on that one. That was the game, I believe, that the Patriots had the funeral for Coach D. Rest in peace, Coach D. Um, you know, uh, shout out to his family. It really sucks. That really hurts. But I think the Bearcats might have dodged a bullet on that one. If you look, they had to play the Warhawks. They had to play the Cardinals. They were supposed to play the Patriots. Just a tough, tough, tough schedule, and they did the best they could. Patriots 3-2. I think that record might have been better had the Patriots not loaded their schedule. They had a lot on their plate for this year. They were playing games, 2 games every weekend. They were playing Saturday and Sunday. They were a part of the TV show. We will talk about the TV show once that airs, once everything is in the clear. Don't really want to talk about it right now too much because of obvious legal issues and things like that. I post this to YouTube. There's some conflict there, so I'm gonna kind of shy away from it until the show airs. But we'll talk about that eventually. The Patriots were part of a TV show. I think their record might be a lot better if they were able to just focus on one thing. But when the cameras call, you got to show up. Crusaders finished the season 2-4. They get bumped up. Listen, we played CT Falcons. We played the Crusaders in Connecticut and West Haven at the Nike site. We beat them 40-0, I think, or 41-0. We played them in Brooklyn. I knew it was going to be different because I saw the live from week 1 when they played the Patriots. Week 1 when they played the Patriots, the game was 14-12, I think. That's the finish. And I saw the live and I said, that's a good football team. We played the Patriots and they confirmed because the Patriots was a great football team. Whatever happened, they don't travel well. I don't know what it is. They don't play great on Saturdays, from what I'm hearing. They're a Sunday team. They got guys playing in other leagues. They got guys that work. They got guys with commitments. On Sunday in Brooklyn, that's a hard team to beat. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I boosted them up. Listen, they in the playoffs. They're a competitive team. They can ball. As long as they bring everybody, and I think for the playoffs, they're going to bring everybody. They're going to give the Patriots a run for their money unless the Patriots stay disciplined and they really come to play. Chargers are out. Huskies are out. It is what it is. We're not even going to talk about it. Let's move on. We're going to talk quickly just a little bit about the stats. I pointed some things out. Listen, the Warhawks statistically might have had one of the best football seasons in semi-pro in the last decade. I mean, they just, at least in the spring, I mean, they dominated. Like, they really put up crazy numbers offensively. They really shut down every team they played. 20 of the 34 points they allowed, or 21 of them, came from the East Coast Cardinals. That means outside of playing the second or the number 1 team, however you want to see it, they only allowed 13 points all season outside of playing the best other team in the league. I mean, and then they put up 246 points. So that's crazy. They averaged 41 points a game. That's video game like numbers. They allowed less than 7 points a game. That's crazy. That's great. East Coast Cardinals just kind of did a calm 180. Only let up 34. It was calm. It was smooth, but they're a really good team. The thing that really stood out to me, though, was that the Patriots' offense is actually pretty good, especially because most of that production came from, I think, 3 games played. Like, they didn't play all 6 games that they were supposed to. And they still put up really, really good numbers. The other thing that stands out to me is if you look at the Crusaders were kind of like in the back for most of the year. And now all of a sudden, offense 5th, defense 6th. Like, that's not necessarily a bad team. It could be the fact that the Machine are not active. It could be the fact that the Huskies are not active. But it's not a bad team. So just something to look at. Both the rankings and the stats are posted on Facebook. If you want to go take a look at it, go to my page. You can find these things posted. Looking at the playoff picture, This is what it is. This week is Memorial Day weekend, so we got the week off. I don't think that the Cardinals are going to make that game up with the Crusaders. Haven't heard anything about it, so I doubt that's going to happen. So the IFA has the week off. Next week, you're going to see the Patriots take on the Crusaders. You're going to see the Warhawks take on the Bearcats. Bearcat Country saying, listen. Bearcat Country saying, listen. We turning it on now. I don't know what they turning on, but they turning something on. That's what they saying. You know, they said it about their defense. They said we dope. You know, we can go out there and we can play with the best of them. You know, from what I saw, that defense was actually somewhat competitive with the Cardinals for a little while, and then the game got out of control. But Cardinals is just a great team, so it's hard to say. Both the Cardinals in the north and the Falcons in the south both got buys. They're the number one teams. So that's the playoff picture. You know, we kind of called it 2 weeks ago. Nothing much changed based on the schedule. Nothing was really going to change unless the Bearcats upset the Cardinals. That didn't happen, so everything pretty much stayed the same. All right, let's talk about the games to watch. Well, we talked about it. June 5th, 2 p.m. They playing on God's Day. They go into Sunday service. Oh, man. You know, I played in New York for years, and we used to play on Sunday all the time, and it didn't bother me, but I was much younger, had less responsibilities. Now I'm an adult. I got a lot on my plate. Playing on Sunday is rough, especially at 2 p.m., especially if you got to travel. Luckily, these two teams, I think, are within maybe 45 minutes of each other with traffic, maybe an hour at most. No. I'm lying. Depending on where you're coming from in Brooklyn, Jackie Robinson, or you taking the Parkway, coming from the Belt, you got to take that other Parkway, the Van Wyck. The Van Wyck is terrible. So with traffic, it could be an hour and a half, but they'll be fine. That's basically a home game for either team. They playing in the boroughs. This is if you are in New York and you have time and you get out of church and you want to go see some action, go check this game out. I promise you, it's going to be entertaining. The first game was 14-12. It's kind of like it's a revenge game for the Crusaders. They coming off a big win against the number one team. They going against the number two team. They said they're going to make a run in these playoffs. They said they're going to take over. The Patriots said, we ready. We got to avenge the loss of one of our dear coaches. We gotta take over this league. It's gonna be a crazy one. All right, TFL. The final game. We talked about it. Bengals versus Green Wave. Not sure where that game is. Hopefully, somebody from the TFL could jump on. Let me know what's going on. Let me know where they playing at. Let me know what time it is. All of that. More likely, it's gonna be somewhere, you know, either in Central Bronx or it's gonna be in Queens. Right? Not Queens. I'm sorry, Brooklyn. So somebody just let me know what's going on out there. All right, NEAFL, the round 2 game to watch. Central Jersey Knights versus the New Jersey Unit. This is gonna be a crazy game. Because 7-1 to finish the season, both teams, but the Jersey Knights are 8-1 technically. The Unit had a week off. The Unit is a dominant football team. They really are. They got exposed a little bit by the Phantom, but there was a lot to that situation. That's just semi-pro. You're not always going to get your guys. You're not always going to get the best. Sometimes weather's going to play a factor. Travel's going to play a factor. They had to go to Philly. That was tough. It's playoff time, though. And in playoff time, you typically get everybody. You get the best. So we're really going to see some fireworks in this game. I can't wait to get the highlights. Talking about highlights, I know. Top plays. I promised them they're coming. Video editing is not easy. It takes a lot of time. Coach Shivers, what's going on? All right. Real quick, let's jump into the playbook. Let's open it up. All right. We done with the horn. Let's talk a little football now. All right. I want to go over 2 offensive concepts. The first one that you're going to look at, flood. Second one we're going to look at is stick. Right now, you're looking at a flood concept. All right. Flood concept. You're going to overload the zone. That's pretty much what you're trying to do. Defense is dropping back in the zone. They're doing a great job of covering it. One of the teams that does this in the IFA very well is the Warhawks. They're a great zone coverage team. They really rely on them dogs that they got on the defensive line to get back there, create pressure, force. Really, what they want to do, from what I see, is they want to force the quarterback to throw the ball in the tight coverage and just make great plays. And the flood concept is a great way to kind of break that up. And this concept you see in the Z motion, they're going to bring them into a little short motion. They're going to snap the ball, kind of try to get the defense caught off guard, kind of get the cornerback caught out of position, not really sure what to do. Then you're going to just get, a quick flat out route. You're going to get a corner route. You're going to get a deep out. And then on the backside, you could really have a slant, or you can have this drive route that you're seeing right here. Is basically like an end without a cut, just full speed across the field. In this particular look that we're seeing right here, you got play action. So basically, this is an easy read. This is an easy progression. It's a 1, 2, 3 progression, right? And what they basically doing, the quarterback is reading that first, he's reading that out, then he's reading that flat, and he's checking back to that drive. And by reading that out, he could tell whether or not the corner is going to play that corner route. The cornerback is going to play that corner route, or if he's going to play that out route. Out of his peripherals, he can see if the safety is rocking over to pick that corner route up. If he feels like that corner can play both routes, he's going to drop his eyes down to that flat, or maybe an out. That flat is really the target route. That's really the route that you want to take advantage of. You want to take what the defense gives you. You want to force them downfield with the corner, force them downfield with the deep out, make them really respect the speed and the athleticism of your receivers, and then just take advantage of what they leave underneath with that out. And then, because it's a flood concept, you got all of this motion going to one side of the field. If the defense overreacts and tries to cover everything, that drive is going to come behind it into open space. Especially with the play action, you're going to kind of freeze or hold up any blitz or backside pressure that you get in to give enough time for that drive to come across the field. This flood concept is a great concept. It's great football. It's simple football. This is the type of stuff that we need to see in semi-pro. These concepts that are very simple, but at the same time, they take some repetition to really get them right. You got to understand that progression. You got to understand the footwork, right? Especially on the play action. That play action, you got to get that ball down quick. Running back has to really sell it. Quarterback then has to pop out, open them hips quickly, make that read the entire time while you're doing the play action. Read. Once you make that read, deliver that football quickly. But if we have more concepts like this in semi-pro, we're going to see a lot more high-powered offenses, a lot more moving the ball, a lot higher scores. Now let's talk a little bit about stick. We're going to see 3 different stick looks. This first one is just a traditional wide stick. You got a tight end on the field. The tight end is running the stick. Same concept. This one is called the 3-and-1 stick, otherwise known as a go stick. So you got that deep route. You got that 9 on the outside with the Z. You got an out route and you got a stick. All right. And you'll see the terminology up here, stick and stay. All right. At that tight end, it might not be a tight end. It might be a H, right? It might be a Y. If that guy sees space, he finds open space, he's going to stick, right? He's going to find that open space. He's going to get to the top of his zone. He's going to attack toes. He's going to turn around and sit in that open space. He's going to make himself look friendly, as they say to the quarterback. He's going to show him his numbers. He's going to get his hands up. He's going to make himself nice and tall. And he's going to say, hey, I'm open. I'm sitting in open space, and he's going to stay there. Now, if the receiver or the tight end releases and he feels like that coverage is tight, that guy is lurking on him. Maybe he finds that it's man coverage. He's going to run. He's going to run away, right? So what he's going to do is he's going to stem his route to the outside a little bit. Once he gets to the top of his route, not really the top, he's going to cut his route short a little bit. Instead of breaking hard and turning around and getting big, he's going to get to the top of his route, break a little early, find that open space, and then run away from the defender. Quarterback's going to throw him open. This is why practice is so important, because This concept is an easy 4 or 5 yard pickup every single time. Easy 4 or 5 yard pickup. But it's the concept that we just talked about. The stick and stay or the run away. Right? If you can understand that concept and you can get on point, and the quarterback can know what the receiver's doing, receiver can know that the quarterback's going to read it properly and trust him, you'll always win. You'll always win this. There's no way that you can cover all of it. Because if the quarterback drops, and let's just say the guy that's covering the number 2 receiver that's running that out route tries to play the runaway, right? And they've got the stick and stay, they've got the actual stick itself guarded very well in tight coverage. The quarterback can read that that guy is kind of sitting and just dump that thing off to the out. And if the corner tries to play both the go and the out, which is impossible unless they're in cover 2, and if they're in cover 2, the runaway is going to work. But even so, if they're in cover 2 and somehow they got all of those underneath routes taken away, there's a little gap that that quarterback can throw that ball back shoulder to the go route, hit him on the sideline, make a big play downfield. And not to mention, what you'll see what you're looking at right now, when you look at the play, you'll see 1, 2, and 0. All right. When you look at the go route, you'll see 1. When you look at that stick, you'll see 2, and you'll see 0. That's the read. That's the progression for the quarterback. This is something that a lot of quarterbacks in semi-pro don't understand. A lot of guys don't come to practice enough. You don't get enough receivers. You don't get enough DBs. You don't take the time sometimes to just go through progressions and how important they are. But the progression is so important. You're reading that corner. That's why you're reading the go route first. If the corner sits on the out, the go is open. That's why this is called the go stick, because you're reading the go first, right? Soon as that corner and safety take away the go and take away the out, and the quarterback go, I can't make that throw, you drop it down to the stick. Now you're looking to find, is the stick sticking and staying, or is that stick running away? If all of that is taken away and they just got bodies everywhere, that quarterback's just snapping to the backside, throwing that slant. So a great play. Now, short stick concept, double slants. You actually, this could be considered a double stick concept. So you got double slants on the backside, and then you got a choice route on the front side. So on the front side, you got the same thing. You got the slot running the stick and stay or run away, but you also have your outside, your Z receiver. He has a choice. He's either gonna go full speed and break this out to a fade, or he's gonna go full speed, get to the toes of the defender, and snap himself around. Now here they have him running basically a curl. I think we really should see this as a comeback, right? He should be snapping that off like he's gonna run that fade regardless. And then on a second break, he should be breaking down and flipping hips going to the sideline, trying to get a great break on a comeback. Quarterback really should just be trying to find whether or not he's throwing that stick on a runaway or if he's hitting that comeback to the sideline. But listen, double slant concept, something that we see a lot of, just not ran properly. Let's talk about that double slant concept on the backside real quick. The reason that double slants typically don't work at any level is spacing. The 2 receivers first don't line up with enough spacing or proper spacing, depending on where the ball is. And the second thing is, when they're running their route, their releases are not congruent to each other. One guy releases inside and the other guy releases outside. Like your X receiver will release inside, your H will release outside, and now both guys are within 3 or 4 yards of each other. The double slant's never going to work. One guy can play both slants in that case. The receivers got to be in communication with each other. You got to know that you're both running slants. You got to know inside receiver that no matter what, you got to win inside. Outside receiver has a choice. He can take it outside and then come back inside on a slant. Really, he should be winning inside, trying to make it seem like it's a go route and then just snapping it off to a slant. But he has a lot more leeway. The inside receiver, you don't have leeway. You got to win. You just got to beat your man to the inside and get upfield quickly. Give the quarterback a target. Make yourself the threat to the safety, right? Make yourself the threat to the linebacker. Hold the defense tight so that he can get that slant to his main guy at the X. Guys just got to understand football a little bit, and that's why we talk about it. All right, last one. All stick concept. The all stick concept. Right now, we're looking at trips. You're gonna Z motion across the field, and basically what you're getting is two inside sticks. You're getting two flat routes, right? These are right away, immediate flat routes. These could be quick outs. Really, it shouldn't be a quick out. It should be an angle, straight off the line of scrimmage, straight upfield with a little break to the sideline. Two inside sticks. Now, this concept, basically, what this is a man beater because what you do is you tighten the field by bringing the receivers inside. Everybody's tight. There's nobody outside the numbers. There's nobody even at the numbers. Everybody's within the numbers. Everybody's tight. You get a little bit of motion so that you see whether or not it's man or zone. If you get the zone, you know you're looking for that stick and stay because you got zone. It's going to be an open spot. Inside receiver, find the open grass and sit in it. Quarterback's going to hit you in the numbers. Outside guys, really, you just full speed attacking that sideline, trying to pull defenders out. And listen, quarterback, this is easy, right? If everybody stays in tight, you know you got your fastest guys running to the sideline. They're going to be untouched. Put that ball out there. Let him catch it. Get an easy little 3 yards, maybe 5 yards. Maybe he catches it, turns up the sideline. Nobody touches him. It's a touchdown, right? These are easy concepts, easy things to put into your offense. You can put it into your offense tomorrow because these are easy concepts, the stick concept. All right. Let's talk a little bit about defense. Offense is always the moneymaker, but defense is the thing that wins championships. Cover three, cloud, cloud, cloud. People are so afraid of cloud and semi-pro. I don't understand. Cloud is the greatest concept to run, in my opinion, because you hide what you're doing, but to the quarterback, his first read looks exactly the same. Now, let's just say the quarterback's dropping back. His first read, he's looking at the strong safety, which he shouldn't. He should be looking at the free. But he looks at the strong safety, and that strong safety drops back. He's going to say cover two. It's too high. That safety is dropping back. That's the strongest cover two. But actually, what happens is at the snap, the free safety rolls to the middle third. The strong safety rolls out to the outside third. That corner on the play side jams and sinks. He's basically trying to force the best receiver off his route, pushing him inside to his help. And now all of a sudden, what looked like a cover two read has just evolved into a cover three read mid-play. And there's very, very few quarterbacks, even at the NFL level, that deal with that properly, consistently. And we pretty much know all of those guys by name. That's how good they are. Underneath, your two inside linebackers both got hooks. Your primary, your best corner is going to be your corner to the strong safety side. He's going to have outside leverage. He's going to force that receiver back inside. He's going to sink almost like he's playing a corner route, keeping his eyes downfield on the quarterback, laser focused, looking for anything crossing, anything coming out the backfield. On the other side, you got a nickel, might be an outside linebacker. He's playing curl to flat, obviously as the curl first. Then he's going to play the flat after. Your backside corner or your open corner is going to basically be playing bell, right? He's going to get up there and make it look like it's press three, just like the jam sink on the other side. With that jam, he's going to make it look like he wants to jam. Right before the ball snap, he's going to get the hell out of there because he's playing deep third. I mean, three cloud is such a great defense. You can also blitz out of this defense. Let's just say, right now we're looking at a tight end look. Let's just say you got a really rangy inside linebacker that can really do it all and really take up a lot of space. Guess what? You can send one of those middle linebackers and just have that other guy that's really rangy play the entire deep middle. Or let's just say you got a really great nickel that can play in open space very well. He can help out that other linebacker a little bit. Even though he's playing curl flat, he could probably play curl flat and hook because he's just that good. And then you got five guys rushing. You only need one to win in order to get to that quarterback. Just a great defensive play. I bet. So with that being said, we don't have anybody. We don't have anybody in the live. We don't got anybody waiting on cue. But there's some things that I want to talk about. And I'm going to throw my ideas out there for right now until somebody hops on and debates me on this. The first conversation, controversial is all I don't know. What is the most important position on the football field? We're gonna start with offense first. Everybody, everybody says it's the quarterback. You go watch ESPN, you go watch CBS Sports, you go watch Fox Sports, they're gonna say the most important position on the field is quarterback. Some people might say the most important position on the field for offense is a dominant athlete. We're talking, we're talking a Michael Vick, a Tyreek Hill, a Devin Hester, just these freak. I mean, a Barry Sanders, a Megatron, right? These guys that just are just freakishly big, freakishly fast. You know, Saquon Barkley, mega thighs. You know what I'm saying? Like tree trunks for legs. It don't matter where you hit this guy. You just can't knock him off balance. He's just way too stable, way too strong. Like these just freakish athletes. It doesn't matter what position they play in because really you could put him anywhere. Michael Vick is a great example. There's a guy that could have played receiver. He was 6 foot, 6'1", ran a 4.3 40 on laser. He could have played running back. He could have played receiver, but he played quarterback. So the truth is, you could have put him anywhere on the field, and he was a threat no matter what. But my opinion is that the center is the most important position on the football field on the offense. And here's why. As great as those athletes that we just talked about are, Megatron can never get the ball in his hands if the quarterback can't deliver it. And the quarterback will never be able to deliver ball if first he can't get the snap, and secondly, if there's no blocking to help him out, to give him just enough time to get that ball up in the air. Now we talked about a guy like Michael Vick. I mean, there's a number of quarterbacks in the NFL right now that they almost defy logic, you know, when it comes to escaping the pocket and escaping pressure. And I think of Russell Wilson was like really the first guy that was considered like the escape artist, you know, even though Dan Marino really was the first guy considered the escape artist. But Russell really was like the escape artist. And now, you know, we got escape artists all over the place. But how sustainable is that? How sustainable is constantly running for your life, trying to make a crazy play happen? I think of like Patty Mahomes. Everybody said this guy is going to dominate the NFL for the next decade. He had a few really, really crazy years, but like running for your life and making crazy plays all the time is not sustainable. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was doing that. He was already doing that. I mean, Brett Favre was doing it too, even before Aaron. But Brett was kind of doing it because that's just how he is. I don't think that dude ever really read the playbook. I think, I think he just learned how to regurgitate the plays, and then he just played with whatever he saw. But like Aaron was one of those guys that would just extend plays forever. Ben Roethlisberger, one of those guys that would just extend plays forever. Yeah, Brett is a different breed. These guys would just extend plays forever. I even think back to like when I watched NFL like classics, Terry Bradshaw. He would extend plays forever. He would just do crazy stuff, truck defensive linemen, just stand in the pocket forever. But like that doesn't last long and it doesn't win championships. Like in the big moments when you play great teams, that really is not the way. So the center's job, the higher the level you get, the center's job is really to understand the full concept, communicate it, point out things, make sure that the entire line is communicating, make sure that they pick up anything that's free or loose. I mean, a center has a really complex job. And at the end of the day, the ball never gets in the quarterback's hands if the center can't do his job. And I had that experience firsthand this year. We had a rough game against a team that we probably could have otherwise stomped all over this year in the IFA. But we had a tough time getting the ball to the quarterback. And I mean, it wasn't all on the center, it wasn't all on the quarterback. It was just a bad day. And it was just like, I don't know. It was just like they were off. They weren't in sync. And it made me really think about like how important the center really is. And the more complex your run game gets, the more you start to realize, like, if you have a center that is not only stout enough to lock down two A gaps, smart enough to pick up blitzes and communicate in seconds, but also fast enough that he can pull at any given moment, your offense just went to the next level, dude. Your offense just went to the next level. If you got a center that can do all of the above, plus he has size, ha, ha, man, y'all gonna have a good year. Y'all gonna have a really good year. So I just think that's a really interesting conversation. Like, I also found, now that we're on the topic of like what's the most important position on the field for the offense, I found a comment. I forgot who said it. But the comment went, the most useless position on the field in today's game is the running back. They basically was making a case that in the NFL and higher level college football, there's no need for a running back anymore at all. You could remove them from the field completely, and teams would actually be more efficient and more productive. That got me thinking, like, it's kind of crazy to think that, right? Like, a lot of people would just like, oh, hell no, no way. There's no way that you could just remove the running back. Think about all the dominant running backs in today's game. You think of like Kamara, you think of what's old boy in Tennessee? Big dude. I can't think of him right now. But everybody knows him. The big running back with the dreads. Um, you think of guys like Saquon we talked about. I mean, there's a lot of great running backs right now in the NFL. Now that I think about it, there's a lot of them. There's actually some running backs that are great that nobody even talks about anymore, like my man out of Texas. But that's crazy. But when I saw that comment, it reminded me of the tight end. It reminded me of like a decade ago when you had Jeremy Shockey. That's a little more than a decade ago. Ty Gurley. Thank you. Jeremy Shockey. You had Tony Gonzalez. You had a bunch of like, you had Todd Heap at one point. You had these tight ends that were like true tight ends, and they were great. I mean, they were great, and they had such an impact. And today, you really don't see the tight end. Like, the tight end is almost an ancient thing. And even the tight ends that we do see, they're more like big, slow receivers more than they are true tight ends. And I don't know. I think especially when I look at the NFL, the more the further into the passing game and the mobile quarterback, Kittle, the further we see the mobile quarterback and the passing game develop, the more we start to see running backs become dual athletes. Like, in today's 15 years ago, you could be a running back and you can't catch. I mean, you got two bricks for hands, and you could be an NFL starter and maybe even make the Hall of Fame. Today, you won't make a roster if you can't catch out the backfield. I don't care how big you are. I don't care what you're great at. If you can't catch out the backfield, your chances of making an NFL roster are like very, very slim. You gotta be really great at whatever it is that you do, because the game just requires you to run routes out the backfield now. You just have to. Defenses are so fast, they're so reactive. Defensive ends, apex players. I mean, it's crazy. Like, even defensive tackles today are running backs down. They're meeting them at the sideline on toss plays, defensive tackles. The game is so athletic now that you have to have, a running back that can do it all really. And I just think that understanding that what that guy said kind of makes sense because running backs are really starting to blur the lines between running back and slot because you can always almost always take your slot. You almost always have a slot that used to be a running back, right? Or a slot that has the ability to be a running back. So you could almost always take a slot and motion him and get a jet off, right? Jet is basically just sweep. So it's kind of crazy to think about the concept that maybe, just maybe, in the near future, in the next 10 years, we might see a pro style offense that doesn't have a running back. Crazy. Kind of crazy. All right. How about defense? What's the most important position on the field for the defense? And now this one is tough. My notes, I got safety, middle linebacker, a dominant defensive end, and I guess I really should say a dominant pass rusher when you talk about today's game, or a lockdown corner. I gotta think about this one for a second. Because I think of Champ Bailey. I think of Darrell Revis. I think of Charles Woodson. I think of how dominant they were and for how long they were dominant and how impactful they were on their teams. Like you seen these guys play on the biggest stage every year. Every year. Their teams were great. I even think of like up and coming guys. Like guys like Ramsey. I don't think Ramsey has really peaked. He definitely hasn't peaked. But he already got to that level where people almost depend on him to make that great play in the big moment. And he's really only at the beginning stages, maybe the midpoint of his career. But I just think about how dominant a lockdown corner really is. Because that guy theoretically can really take away one side of the field. Like he can take away one sideline. You can't throw the ball over there. You can't run the ball over there. That sideline is taken away. Now the offense has only 3/4 of the field to play with, and that makes it so much easier, especially if you got a great linebacker or you got a great defensive end. But with the rate at which quarterbacks drop back today, we're seeing 50 plus passes a game. Even at the semi-pro level, I think we're seeing 30 passes a game. Is a dominant defensive end the most important position today? A dominant pass rusher. I mean, just a guy that can get 4 or 5 sacks a game, calls a fumble or two. And I think, that's tough. That's tough. And I say that's tough. I think of guys like J.J. Watt, but then at the same time, he didn't last that long, right? So that was one of the things that I said about the lockdown corner is that they were great, but they were great for forever. The only defensive end that I could really think had a sustainable career where he really dominated for a long time was LT. LT just dominated for like, it almost seemed like his whole career he dominated from year one. All right. Maybe 2 dominant defensive ends. So you got one that's really dominant, and then on the other side, you got one that's really good, like really, really good. And he almost always funnels the quarterback back to the guy that just is really like unblockable. That's crazy. All right, but we're talking about the most important one guy on the field, I guess. Yeah. All right, middle linebacker. So I'm from that era. I'm from that era with Brian Urlacher, you know, um, Teddy Bruschi, uh, Ray Lewis. Like I'm from that like hard nose, the dudes with the rolled up neck braces and the eye paint and the chewing tobacco and the big, huge, just muscle neck, nasty, just knock you out every play. I'm from that era. Patrick Willis. Yo, that dude, Patrick Willis, bro. He was a cheat code. But I think the thing about the middle linebacker position is that it's like the quarterback of the defense, right? The middle linebacker is center field. He has to do both, play run and pass fluidly, right? He doesn't get to be great at the pass and bad at the run. He don't get to be great at the run and bad at the pass because he becomes a liability. He has to be well rounded. He has to be smart. He has to know not only the pressure in front of him that his defensive line is given, he also has to know the coverages around him. He really is the quarterback of the defense. And guys like Brian Urlacher and Ray Lewis and Teddy Bruschi, Patrick Willis, those guys were the heart and soul of their defenses, and those guys all were champions in their own right. I don't know if Patrick Willis ever got a Super Bowl. I don't know if I can't confirm that. I don't know if he ever got a Super Bowl, but I know that he definitely had some championships. He had some conference championships. I know that. All right, last one. Last one is a safety. So the last great safeties, like really great game changing safeties, Ed Reed and John Lynch. Those are the last two safeties that really like. They wasn't like big hitters. They wasn't just great interception guys. I mean, like they literally changed the game. I'm missing somebody. I'm missing old boy from Seattle, from the Legion of Boom. Cam Chancellor. He was a game changer too. So Cam Chancellor, Ed Reed, John Lynch. I mean, like this, the penultimate safety is such a rare thing to find. A safety that truly changes and takes over the game all by himself. That's such a rare thing to find. But when you have one, holy fuck, when you have one though, because you could have mediocre safety. I mean, you could have mediocre corners. You got really mediocre corners. But if you got a safety that has range, I mean, like crazy range. If you got a safety that can bait, I mean, lull the quarterback to sleep. Rock goodbye, baby. Psych, I got you. I mean, it takes all the pressure off the defense. Like, think about it. Think about it. Think about being in a game, right? And no matter how good the quarterback receiver combination is, you just go, they can't go over the top. My safety is so good, they can't take the top off this defense. Like, come on. Exactly. I don't even gotta hear the words coming out your mouth. I already know. If you are playing on a football field, if you playing Madden, if you playing NCAA, if you playing backyard football or flag football, and you go, No matter what that team does, they can't take the top off our defense. They can never throw it deep. They're never gonna get the 9. They're never gonna get a post. They might get a corner or two, but if they keep doing it, it's gonna get picked off. It changes the game drastically. Drastically. It means that that offense now has to dump and dime, nickel and dime, and especially if the guy is a two-way like Ed Reed, where he can play the pass just as well as he could play the run. I mean, Cam Chancellor, he's known for a big hitting dude, but he was the tip drill master. That dude has so many interceptions off of tip drills, and he has so many forced interceptions off of tip drills. Damn, most dominant defensive. Ooh, that's tough. I'm gonna go. That's tough. That's tough. Most dominant defense. All right, all right, all right. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with safety because I was a safety. Shut up. If you want to argue about it, join the live. All right, all right, all right, all right. All right. This is a good one. All right. This is the last little debate that we got for tonight. The last little debate. What is the toughest team to play against? Was the toughest team to play against? Is the toughest team to go up against the team that's too damn fast, the team that's too damn big, the team that's well coached? I mean, militant, just coached down to the T. But not only are they disciplined, because that's what I was talking about when I said well coached. And I think that's the misconception a lot of times. When you say well coached, a lot of people misconstrue that as, well, they're a very disciplined team. But a well coached team also is a team that is very skillful. They have a lot of tools in their arsenal, like all of the players, not just 2 or 3 of them, but all of them have a lot of tools in a tool belt. That's a well coached team. Or and here's the last one. So we got too fast, too big, well coached, or is the toughest team to play against the team that has nothing to lose? Bro, a full team of sprinters. I mean, yo, you got to understand something. You got to think about this for a second, though. A team where the slowest guy on the team is running sub 5-second 40. We talking about the third string offensive lineman, tackle, guard, 4'9", 4'8". Yo, whole team can run. Whole team running. You talking about multiple 4'3", 40 guys. Maybe multiple 4'2", 40 guys. Maybe 2 or 3, 4'2'9", 4'2'8" guys. That's crazy. That would be, and you know what? What's crazy is those teams exist. There are teams like that in the NCAA. There are teams like that in the NFL right now. Multiple low 4'3" guys on one side of the ball. Is that the hardest team to play against, or is it the team? And when I think of too big, I think of the Big Ten. I think of teams like Nebraska. I think of teams like Iowa. I think of teams like Wisconsin. I think of these country bump. I think of teams like out in the middle of nowhere, PA, out in the middle of nowhere, West Bumble, New Jersey, like places that's just all farms. Like we went up to New Hampshire. Them dudes wasn't that big, but you think of places like New Hampshire where it's just all farms. All these dudes do is lift stuff all day long, and they just a big team that just come out and like they run double tight. They come out 5 defensive linemen, 2 big linebackers. Right. So it definitely depends on what type of team you got. But I mean, from a personal experience, right? Regardless of what team you got, like that team that you play that you just be like, yo, I hate playing these dudes, man. Because I know, like, from a running back's perspective, playing a fast defense, I mean, like a really fast defense is the worst. It's the worst because I have no options. I have to run in straight lines because the minute that I turn my hips and I start going lateral, that defense is so fast that play instantly is no longer a good play. I just lost yards just like that. As soon as I turn my hips, I lost yards because I'm getting ran down. I'm getting ran down by defensive tackles. The safeties is on me. The corners done beat they receive. Like I'm just getting hit from everywhere. But also like playing a defensive line that's just massive. You talking about big, strong dudes that's just throwing my guards on the floor, mushing my center out the way, standing up in front of my quarterback. He can't throw the ball. Like every second pass that he throws gets batted down. You got corners that are 6'4", and you can't go over the top of them. They got so much range. You got linebackers that are 250, 6'4", linebackers 250, 6'4". Like just the whole team. The quarterback 6'5", 240. Running back 6'4", 230. Like a team that's big, like the whole team big, tough. I'll never forget in high school, we played Severian high school. I think they had a Brooklyn. Yeah. Nah, because we got Dennis Coleman. Dennis Coleman, a little speedy dude. But yeah, me and Maz kind of crazy. But nah, like I'm not even that big. I'm only 5'11". I'm just stocky. Maz is a good example though. Dude is legit like a NFL sized defensive end playing running back. That's crazy. Um, I remember in high school playing a team called Severian, and I was playing like this hybrid linebacker safety kind of player. Sometimes I'd be 7 yards deep, sometimes I'd be 2 yards, sometimes I'd be in the box, sometimes I'd be out the box. And we played the yeah, Divine Biggest, I don't know what. we played we played we played Severian, and they had a quarterback that went to he went to Purdue. They had an offensive tackle that was 7'1". He was 410 pounds. And I swear to you, no lie, this man had an 8-pack. He looked literally like The Rock in high school. Dude was straight ripped. I think they said he had like 32-inch biceps or something retarded, something crazy. Like his bicep was the size of dude's freaking quads, bro. Like I'll never forget the very first play. I was a nutcase. Very first play, break the huddle. We go out, we in base formation, we slanting. I slanted the I had control of the defensive line. So I slanted them away from dude. And I blitzed myself. I said, yo, I'm going, y'all slant. That's the linebacker cover. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna run right into his chest. And I'm gonna put the fear of God in this man. I don't care how little I am compared to him. I'm gonna hit this dude with everything I got and make this dude respect me from the first play. Yo, they snapped the ball. I took off and I'm moving. I'm straight at dude. Dude took one step, turned, looked at me. He never moved. I ran into him and I was laying on my back. And I was like, yup, not running into him again. Got up, and for the rest of the game, I juked the hell out of him every play because I was not getting caught up in his shit. Nope. So, yeah, playing dudes that's just too big. Nah, Yo, dude played for he played for like I guess they have like a 17 and under or 19 and under national team that travels all over the country. Like they go to Mexico, they go out of the country and play in like Germany. So as soon as he finished playing with us, he played in the Army All American Bowl, and then he went and played for them. So while we was on recruiting visits, this dude was traveling. Like he was in Mexico, he was all over the place. Like he was a legit football player. I think they said that he had an NFL tryout, but he was like too big. Like he was just too tall to really put him anywhere, not fast enough, not mobile. So unfortunately he didn't make it. But yeah, bro, I thought dude was on drugs. I thought dude was steroiding it up. It was crazy. I've never seen somebody so big but so muscular. Like the dude, he was just a giant, but he was ripped, like ripped, bro. Like all he does is lift all day long. That never seen that. And then his quarterback was 6'5", like 230. Mind you, we're in high school. We're in freaking high school, bro. I'm 5'11", like a buck 80, most. Most buck 80. These dudes is crazy. Anyway, all right. So when we talk about like well-coached teams, I think of Shamrocks. I think of Boston Shams, right? I think of Alabama. I think of New York Patriots. I mean New York Patriots, New England Patriots. Um, I even think like the New Orleans Saints. Very, very well coached team. Um, that's tough because a well coached team, and I'm giving them the handicap that they're not the most athletic team, right? So I'm saying if they're a really well coached team, they're not they're not the type of team that has really fast players. They're not the type of team. I never played NYPD, but I heard about NYPD being a very well coached team. But like, so here's the thing. So I kind of talked about this. NYPD is a very disciplined team. But when I say well coached, not only do I mean very disciplined, very few penalties. They stretch together. Guys aren't arguing on the field. Everybody knows their roles. But I'm also talking about a team that has a lot of tools in a tool bag. Like these are the types of teams that could run a double reverse, receiver pass to a quarterback, and it looks perfect. Like the types of teams where everybody, like your receivers, none of them are really that fast, but they all great route runners. They all got hands. Every single one of them will route you up, but none of them are fast. So if you could read the route, you're gonna stick them, but you probably not gonna read the route because he's gonna hit you a couple times. Like that's the kind of like well coached I'm talking about. And in that case, like that's a tough team to play against because I think why that team is so tough to play against is because it's frustrating, like mentally. Like I know I'm better than you physically, but like mentally, you keep beating me every rep. You've set me up so many times that I don't even know what you about to do next. And like, I guess from a running back perspective, I would think like the defense has blitzed and slanted and stunted so many different ways that when I get the ball, I have no idea where the hole is going to be. I can't anticipate it. The Knowles are like that. The Knowles are like that. The Knowles are definitely like that, David. Shams are like that. That's why that was such a great game. From what I'm hearing, the New Jersey unit is like that, but they're a very athletic team too. I think that's a frustrating team to play against. I don't think that's necessarily the hardest or the toughest team to play against. All right, the last team is the team with nothing to lose. We talking about you 7-1 or you 5-2, or if you play in a longer season, you might be something like 12-1 or 12-2 or something like that. And you playing a team that's 2-10. They coming in here and they pissed off. They've been losing all year. And what's the worst that could happen? We could go out and we could throw 17 interceptions, but we just gonna keep bombing it because what's the worst that could happen? To me, I think that's the toughest team to play against. Yeah. The Noles are like that. The Noles are super well coached. For a semi-pro football team, I think let's just take a step back to the well coached for a semi-pro football team. I think the Noles go in that conversation of like upper echelon football, right? The type of football that when you watch it, it looks like college level. It looks clean, right? It's not happening at the speed or the pace of the NFL, but everybody's doing their job. Everybody's in their spot. The players trust each other. They're calling great plays. They have variety. They're mixing it up. They're throwing the ball. They're running the ball. Defensively, they're blitzing. They dropping back. They playing man. Like they do it all, and they do it all well. And each and every player has a tool bag. Each and every player got something in their kit that they could whip out, and you be like, okay, you like that. Yeah, the nose is definitely like that. The nose is definitely like that. The Shams is like that. I thought the New Milford Fire was like that. I seen them a couple times. I saw them in person. I felt like that team was like that. Um, from what I'm hearing, the Sumter Sharks is like that. Sumter Sharks is really like that. Um, but yeah, back to what we was talking about. The nothing to lose team. To me, that's the toughest team to play because that's the team that you don't have to just play the team in front of you. You also got to play yourself because you got to constantly remind yourself not to take them lightly because they're the type of team that you're supposed to walk all over them. You're supposed to just beat them. But for some reason, it's the third quarter and they only 2 touchdowns away. You know what I'm saying? Like, and all of a sudden they get one little lucky or one big play. And now all of a sudden you in a game with a team that you were supposed to be blowing out. And now you arguing on the sideline and coaches is fighting and the organization is looking off. And this happens at every level. This happens in Pop Warner. This happens in high school. This happens in college. It happens in semi-pro. It happens in the NFL. This happens at every level. You playing a team you should just destroy, and for some reason they just didn't care and they came to play. And now you're not just playing them, you playing your sideline, you playing your ownership. The owners on the sideline talking shit to the coaches. Coaches is talking shit to each other on the mics. Players is talking shit to each other on the sidelines, but y'all still got a game. Like they still playing y'all. Though to me, playing a team that has nothing to lose, and especially in the playoffs, when you playing that team that made it to the playoffs that was never supposed to be there, and they just coming to be nasty. They coming to hit you as hard as they can. The receivers is coming out to do moves they ain't never did before. The running back trying to get crazy. The O-line trying to pancake everybody because they got nothing to lose. They don't got another week in their mind. They just going out like this is the last game of the season. So we're going to give it all we got. That's the hardest team to play in my book. Hardest team to play. All right, y'all. With that being said, last little conversation we're going to have tonight. We're going to talk about the ECFL, East Coast Football League. I really want to. I'm gonna talk to Sean Williams a little more because I want to learn more about the EFA. I want to learn more about how it operates. The New York Gators, the Harlem Gators, which is an offshoot of the New York Patriots. They play in that league. ECFL has most of the IFA guys in it. What else? The XEFL, which is the NEAFL, it basically just flips over to the XEFL. So that league has PA, which is mostly Philly, Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia, all 5 states. That's a huge territory. Um, that's a league that I definitely want to cover more. But for the main part, we're gonna talk about the ECFL. Um, it came out that it's the largest semi-pro football league. I'm not sure if that's geographically or teams. I'm pretty sure that it's teams, having 30 plus teams in the league. Um, Fall ball is picking up, yo. It's back. It's back in full action. We got preseason games. We got player movements. We got coaching movements. Um, it's crazy. Preseason is upon us for real. And one of the crazy things that's happening right now is that the spring and the fall are bumping into each other right now. And this is why like spring and fall typically have a little bit of rivalry as far as like commissioners and league owners go, because this is where players either show up for opening day or they still playing, trying to finish out their spring season, and it's tough. It's a tough position to be in. Um, just really quickly, talk about some of the top ECFL games coming up. Connecticut Panthers (CTP). They look great this year. The New Milford Fire decided that they couldn't fill the team this year. We don't know why. We don't really know what's going on in that camp. We don't know if that team will make a return soon or not. They just decided, late last year, listen, we're not going to come back for next year. A lot of those players broke off and went to different places in Connecticut, but from what I'm hearing, the majority of them ended up at CTP. Now, the New Milford Fire is a national championship level team. They were the number one, number two in the ECFL for much of the year last year. They lost to the Shamrocks in a heartbreaker. They kind of had a couple meltdowns, but really kept it together. A number of pro football players currently playing pro that played for that team last year probably will be playing for them this year once their pro seasons were over, if the team was still around. Very, very good football team. A lot of those players on CTP right now. CTP is a 3A team. They're playing the Vipers, the team that I'm on. We're actually playing them on Saturday in a preseason game. It's a full game. It's a bowl rank game. If we can upset them, that would be crazy. But really, it's all about seeing, you know, maximum competition. The Vipers got a really good squad. We got a really good squad. We got a really good unit. But it's a first year team. It's a first year roster. First time guys will be playing together. That's tough. But basically, you got the 3A versus the 1A. Southernton Valley Vipers are a 1A team. So CTP versus Vipers, 3A versus 1A. When the season starts, at some point, we're going to have the Vipers versus Tar Heels. A lot of the Tar Heels players went to the Vipers. Tar Heels picked up a lot of New York guys. Connecticut Tar Heels moved from Waterbury to Bridgeport. Southernton Valley Vipers are a brand new team. The Tar Heels, rest in peace. Chance the Godson. Chance was a player on the Tar Heels, 8-ball. He passed away in a car accident. It was tragic. There was a lot of word that the team might fold, that things might not ever get back on track because of the loss of a player that we all loved. I mean, we all did. He was a dude that he had a smile. He had a way about him. He would just show up. He was always there. He was always present. We really miss that kid. We really do. A lot of potential. He just had a way about him, and losing him really hurt the team, and it kind of caused some things to happen. So we split up. So that game has a lot of emotion and a lot of stories and a lot of things happening, and we're gonna talk about that as the ECFL kicks up. That game is gonna happen. That's a 1A game. Then you got the Rebels versus Bulls rematch, like the fifth time. Two heavyweights and the 2A colliding. Eventually, that game is going to happen. From what I'm hearing, the Bulls is kind of looking they're not looking as strong as they usually do, right? They're not looking as strong as they usually do. The Rebels 2A team might not be looking as strong as it usually does either. Those guys in the Rebels camp are really smart. That's what I'm gonna say about that. But that's a big matchup in 2A. The Shamrocks versus CTP in 3A. Whenever that happens, I don't think it's supposed to happen during the regular season. Last time I checked, they don't see each other during the regular season. But whenever that happens, game of the year. Mustangs versus CTP. That's definitely happening. And when that happens, game of the year nominee. GSD versus Pirates. I think that's the first game of the season for those two teams. That's a memorial game. I believe that game is for a lost player. Not really sure. I know it's a memorial game. That's a 3A game. GSD is a dominant team. The Pirates said that they got a roster. They're gonna try to make a run. That's a big game to watch early in the season. Shamrocks versus GSD. That's a big game, bro. As far as talking about like northern teams in the ECFL, that's going to be one to watch. And the last game that I really think is a big one is going to be the CTP versus the Cowboys in 3A. That's going to be a tough one. I know there's some teams that I left out, big games that we really didn't talk about, but that's just my opinion, right? If there's any games out there that's coming up that people think we should be paying attention to, definitely let me know. Last comments before we get up out of here. Coverage of the ECFL, EFA, XEFL begins June 18th, right? That's the IFA championship game. Once that game is done, we're gonna shift over to fall ball 100% of the time. Pretty much we're gonna try to tap on, the fall is saturated. So there's a lot of leagues, there's a lot of teams, there's a lot of football. We're gonna try to focus on a few of the greats. And at the same time, we're just gonna try to deliver as much information as possible and talk about the things that's interesting and fun, But that's the announcement. June 18th, we're really gonna just make the transition and focus from spring to fall. That's why we kind of want to, open up and talk about it. We're going to talk more in detail about each of those games that we talked about. The CTP versus Vipers is happening this week, so you're going to hear about it the next time that we talk. But the Vipers Tar Heels, that's got a lot of storylines behind it. That's got a lot of crazy trauma. Rebels and Bulls, that's got a lot of storylines behind it. That's got a lot of crazy drama. The Shamrocks CTP was the only team to beat the Shamrocks last year. The same team that went on to beat the Brooklyn Seminoles and become national champions. CTP was the only team to beat them. And this year, CTP is even better. And this year, the Shams is saying we're going undefeated and we're going to repeat. So that's going to be crazy. The atmosphere is going to be electric. Plus, there's a lot of New Milford Fire guys that lost to them Shamrocks that got a bone to pick with them. So that's going to be a crazy game. The Mustangs versus CTP is like an in-state rivalry. That game is going to be the best. I think this is the best the Mustangs have looked in a long time with what they got. The roster really ain't complete, it ain't fully out there, but from what I'm hearing, the Mustangs team is looking crazy, especially with Dana coming back. We're going to talk about all of this. It's going to get crazy. It's going to get spicy. Listen, I appreciate you guys for spending time with me tonight. Appreciate y'all for joining the live. We're going to keep it going. We're going to try to get some guests back on the show. We haven't had guests in a while. We're going to try to get some guests on the show. I keep talking about it. Chattanooga Eagles, one more. Sunrise Bowl, one those guys on. Tough. Want to try to get some guys from Texas to jump on with us and have conversations. I'm going to work on it. I need to focus and get my body right. I need to focus and get my mind right. My team is going through a lot right now. We got a lot to work on. As always, I do this just because I love the game. I love the guys that I play against. I love the guys I play with more than anything. I think that these guys need a lot of recognition. There's a lot of great football happening. There's a lot of great coaches, a lot of great organizations. Guys are trying to take some people to the next level. It's a lot of fun, great football. If you can't afford an NFL $200-$300 ticket, if you can't afford to drive all the way out to the nearest NFL stadium, go watch a semi-pro football game. It's fun. It's interesting. There's storylines. There's great people great dudes, great talent on semi-pro football fields. We are trying to improve the quality of the game, and we definitely want more people coming out and just taking a look and enjoying the product that we put out there. So, with that being said, I will see you guys next week. We changed the time, we changed the date, Thursdays at 9. Hopefully we put together an even better show next week. Have even more fun. I'm gonna chat with Esports Network, ESN, and see if we collab, do some things here. That'd be great. There was some ideas about foot races, 7-on-7s. Shoot, some bowling, some basketball. Like this competition stuff goes deep. So there's a lot of great stuff that's definitely coming from the show. I'm gonna get the top 10 plays out for last week and this week in a couple of days. Appreciate you guys for coming out again. Listen, keep tuning in. You know, keep promoting semi-pro football. We love this sport. Love all you guys, and I'll see y'all at the 50. Take care, y'all. Peace.